And some news that is coming in at this moment. Fresh tremors have been felt in Kathmandu at 6:25 local time. That's very recently. We have our correspondents tell us that there is fresh earthquake or tremors that were felt in Kathmandu, Nepal's capital. Now, Nepal continues to grapple with the earthquake aftershocks. Last night, rescue operations suffered a massive setback due to sudden rains. Now, fresh tremors were reported in Kathmandu at even 11:30 p.m. and the official death toll now stands at 2,500. Following the aftershock, Kathmandu's Tribhuvan International Airport was shut down over 2 hours and the air traffic control personnel were evacuated to avoid any untoward incident. A 6.7 magnitude aftershock was followed by another one on 5.3. Close to 50 aftershocks have hit Nepal since Saturday's devastating 7.9 magnitude earthquake. There is still no electricity, water and telecommunication in several parts of the country. But the bigger problem is that of an epidemic. Authorities are conducting mass cremations to dispose of the dead bodies, with Nepal declaring a state of emergency. Now, India has deployed 13 military aircraft and has also sent medical teams, medicines, blankets and water in this hour of need.
The main center of earthquake is right behind this mountain behind me.
The pilot informed us that there had been another bigger earthquake in Kathmandu as a consequence after hovering in the sky for a while.
We are also witnessing here our villages completely devastated, destroyed and in a sense rubbed off the map of Nepal.
Perhaps the temple of Pashupatinath in Nepal, in Kathmandu, has not suffered a single damage as far as the main deity idol is concerned.
Devastation of a magnitude which is unimaginable, and there are people on board this flight who are still concerned.
Now, for those who survived the deadly earthquake, it's an unending nightmare. It's a heart-wrenching story of a father who could do nothing despite hearing pleas for help from his own daughter trapped inside the debris. Her screams for help stopped eventually, and he believes that his daughter is dead. Manugya Loiwal got us this report from Kathmandu.
कल तक आवाज आ रही थी?
हाँ, कल तक शाम तक आ रहा था, सुबह तक। अभी तो वो हो गया, और कैसे निकलेगा ये हमको मालूम नहीं। जिंदा तो नहीं होगा, मरा हुआ है तो अपना बेटा बच्चा तो चाहिए हमको।
Yes, they are still waiting, hoping against hope. These parents last heard their daughter scream from the debris and continued to hope for her life until she got quite suddenly.
हम बाहर गया था, बीवी को लेके हॉस्पिटल में, बेटा बेटी का दुकान पे छोड़ के गया, वापस आ गया तो ऐसे हो। अभी तक नहीं निकला, निकालने के लिए कैसे निकलेगा, सबसे नीचे, और कैसे निकालेगा उसको कैसे पहुंचेगा मालूम ही नहीं है।
कल तक आवाज आ रही थी?
हाँ, कल तक शाम तक आ रहा था, सुबह तक। अभी तो वो हो गया, और कैसे निकलेगा ये हमको मालूम नहीं। जिंदा तो नहीं होगा, मरा हुआ है तो अपना बेटा बच्चा तो चाहिए हमको, वो कोई नहीं।
And the mother is beyond control, beyond condolences and completely shattered. These helpless parents could do nothing despite hearing heart-wrenching shrieks of their daughter. And like them, many others are desperately looking for their children in this hour of catastrophe. It took several years in making a home and several years in making a sweet shop. But the bitterness that has been left behind with this earthquake will remain lifelong in the family of these people. Perhaps the most difficult part for them would be seeing the dead bodies of their own children with their own eyes and carrying it on their shoulders for the last rites. With camera person Tapas Berry, this is Manogya Loiwal in Kathmandu for Headlines Today.
As relief operations continue in full swing, Headlines Today's Jugal Purohit got us this report from Lamjung, the epicenter of yesterday's earthquake. This is the first aerial sortie over the epicenter. Now, 22 people have died in a deadly avalanche at Mount Everest. The avalanche struck at both Camp 1 and Camp 2. Several bodies are still feared trapped at the Everest at this crucial juncture. Leading by example is the Indian Army. The Army has intensified its expeditions in the area and rescued 61 mountaineers from 18,000 feet altitude.
We are flying over the Gorkha district of Nepal, the very area where from the earth shook, the epicenter of this earthquake, 7.9 on the Richter scale, just merely 2 kilometers beneath the surface of the earth. As we are flying above this area, let me tell you, we are seeing extremely isolated villages surrounded by thick vegetation, of course the mountains, and what we are also witnessing here are villages completely devastated, destroyed, and in a sense rubbed off the map of Nepal. What's happening right now is that the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force, and of course the Nepalese authorities are making their first preliminary assessment of the damage at the epicenter. Till now we've only seen Kathmandu and other urban areas, but this is where the damage lies and this is where the maximum damage is there. This assessment which is being made with the aim that this will give the authorities the first, most detailed and wide analysis so that they can plan their further steps.
And TV Today Network's managing editor Rahul Kamal, along with Manogya Loiwal, sent us this report through the course of the night.
Just moments before now, there was another aftershock. And I want to show you the streets of Kathmandu at this time. People have started coming out onto the roads once again because they were in their homes because it was raining. Obviously, they didn't want to be out on the roads. But because of these aftershocks, people now out on the road once more. It's raining and the aftershocks continue. And that really is a double whammy of sorts. I'm coming from the Tribhuvan International Airport. There were absolutely no taxis over there. Thousands of people lined outside waiting for some kind of a flight to take them back home. With great difficulty, we were finally able to reach our outdoor broadcasting van from where we are broadcasting at this time. It's a double whammy of sorts for the people of Kathmandu. It's raining, there's no electricity, there's no water supply, the shops are all still shut, and their houses are brittle. People don't want to be in their houses at this time. Last night, they were all out in the open skies, just hoping that there wouldn't be another earthquake. People are petrified, as you can well imagine, because everyone we've been speaking to since the time we came here knows somebody or the other who's lost someone or whose house has been completely devastated. I want to bring in now my colleague Jugal Purohit. Jugal came in earlier this morning and actually took a sortie which took him to some of the worst affected areas. Jugal, describe to our viewers what you saw.
Well, Rahul, the situation is this, that while a lot of attention is being focused, and rightfully so, on the cities where the population centers are, but in the hinterland, there is no voice which is being heard, there's no one reaching there. So what we were on board today, a special Indian Air Force helicopter with the Nepalese Army on board, was an assessment making mission to see just what needs to be done in the hinterland, while Kathmandu is anyways being serviced by a lot of agencies. So today we saw that village after village, as we move west towards the Gorkha district where the epicenter lies, village after village has been buried under landslides. The only saving grace here was that the time that the earthquake took place was the time that most people were in their fields. So now they're all back there, but they have nowhere to go. And of course, you just described the weather. So it's a double whammy. And unlike Kathmandu, remember, no one's being able to reach out there to even give them a tarpaulin to have on their head. So that's the problem there. And now slowly, as Kathmandu and other urban centers get service, the attention is going to shift towards the rural areas.
Okay, I also want to bring in now my colleague Manogya Loiwal. She came in from West Bengal. Where's Manogya? Can we find Manogya? Just give me a moment. We're looking for Manogya. We're also trying to figure out how we're going to be able to find food, water, and I tell you that the hotels are a big problem because of the fact that some of the hotels actually had their walls collapsing. Some hotels had big cracks develop. The staff at the hotels are naturally quite worried, and with good reason. They've not reported for duty, and the few people that are there are finding it very difficult to be able to take new walk-in customers. So a lot of the hotels are turning away people because there were tourists who were trekking, camping in different parts of Nepal. This of course is the peak tourist season here in Nepal. Those people have now come to Kathmandu. They were looking for hotels to stay in. They weren't finding hotels very easily because the hotel staff are already highly pressured. They don't have food supplies, they don't have water, they don't have electricity. They don't want to be able to take more people. We finally found Manogya. So Manogya, tell me, describe to our viewers your experience of coming in from Kolkata up till Kathmandu. What did you all see? What did you see?
Well, it was a morning flight. We reached well in time around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and since then there's been no network. It's difficult to contact your office, contact your family, and forget about our Indian numbers or even the Kathmandu numbers are not working. During the day, we faced harrying time just because of the communication. No electricity, no telecommunication, and with that, no water also during the day. And that's the condition of the people here in Kathmandu also. Most of them have been living across the streets today. I saw the streets full of people and not of vehicles. Most of them not feeling secure in their own homes, feeling stranded, and of course the fact that they felt that they were wearing helmets and sitting on the streets. They said agar upar se patthar girega, so we'll be safe with these helmets on our head. And most of these kids of various families we saw were wearing helmets and sitting across the streets. They were being fed on the streets. It was dirty condition to stay in, and of course the weather condition has added to the woes of them, and that's the reason why the biggest trouble and the biggest headache for even the rescue operations would be the weather conditions and not just the aftershocks. And in the next few hours,
and there's a lot of rumor mongering here as well because people don't quite know what's happening. There's talk of the big earthquake which is supposed to hit the Himalayan tectonic plains. They're not certain of when that will happen. People keep saying this is the one. Is it happening? Was the one?
timing. They say कि 8 बजे आएगा तो आप देखिएगा, 9 बजे आएगा आप देखिएगा.
And they don't know what to do. We saw people, we were told that there were people jumping off their houses yesterday when the earthquake struck. What you really should be doing, we've been speaking to some experts, is try and get under a table, try and get under a bed so that if something is falling, it's not falling on your head. Experts say that's possibly the best thing you can do, unless of course you can come out into the open in an open field. If you have an open clearing, that's where you should be, or get under a table, get under a bed. That's what some experts have been saying. But people of course have their own remedies, their own plans on what to do, and there's a palpable sense of fear here in Kathmandu.
All right, welcome back to First Up. Some latest ground reports are being sent by our correspondents in Kathmandu and Nepal. Let's just cut across live.
Well, we also faced the aftershocks in the morning also, and at around 6 o'clock, and this would also suffice to the reason that it's not just about the aftershocks but also the feeling and the fear factor that has been there in the people here. Let's talk to Rahul Kaval. Rahul, give us an idea. It was almost a sleepless night yesterday again.
Oh, absolutely, because it's practically impossible to sleep when you're plagued by the fear of aftershocks, and these aftershocks sometimes they're just psychological, sometimes they're for real, and it makes it impossible for anyone to sleep. I saw lots of people pacing up and down when I was looking out of my window. The hotel had given very strict instructions for people not to be in their rooms. They wanted all the people to be out in the common areas, out in the front lawns. They'd laid out mattresses. They wanted people to stay there. They felt it was simply too risky for people to be in their rooms through the night. And there were some aftershocks. There was a relatively big one early in the morning, and a very fitful night for people, very tense. Still, we're seeing now the first signs of people beginning to piece their lives together. Some shops opening over here, they were shut all through yesterday. People beginning to take stock of the challenges that now confront them. Today is a day where the weather, if I can just get the camera person to show us the sky, please. Just show us the sky so we can sense that the weather is slightly better. There's still a dense amount of cloud cover, but the weather is still better than yesterday, and that really is crucial for all the rescue material that's being sent from world over to be able to land in Kathmandu, Manogya. And we know that, for example, 2 Israeli hospitals are being brought here. Army units coming with these hospitals. American relief is on its way. But most important is their ability to land. Fortunately now, because the weather is clear, they have that window of opportunity to be able to land.
And also, Rahul, giving an idea on the rescue operations will be far better today, because not just more teams are being pitched in, but also the fact that there will be more people who will be able to work under the sun today rather than the rain.
But I was speaking to the DG of NDRF early this morning, and his big concern was that as the hours lapse, it becomes that much more difficult to be able to extricate people alive, because that opportunity is most prominent just in the first 24 to 48 hours. As the time lapses,